all the time.
Welcome to episode 3 of the Millennial Magician Archives. I am your host. Call me Phoenix Coffin Williams. And sit tight because today's episode is on money magic. So here we go. So before we even begin moving into the kind of different spells or the different activities that you can do to impact your finances, I want to start off by relaying an old parable that goes around in the magical communities and that kind of sits on top of a lot of people's minds when they think about money magic or when they think about using magic to impact finances. So as the story goes, a young, inexperienced sorcerer, young, inexperienced witch or magician finds that their finances are in need of magical support. So they are determined to cast a money spell to get their funds. Let's say, for the sake of discussion, they needed $5,000. Maybe they wanted to get out of debt. Maybe they wanted to buy something pretty. Maybe they wanted to help someone else in their life with some money. But either way, they found that they needed $5,000. So they picked their date, they picked their moon phase, they assembled their altar, they got everything they needed together to cast their little spell. And they did it, it went off without a hitch. And in a few weeks' time, they found that their great aunt, their great grandmother, a distant cousin, some relative of some sort got the axe, died. Maybe it was natural causes, maybe it was an accident, depending on what version of the parable you heard. But this relative dies, and they inherit, the witch inherits the $5,000 that they need to impact their finances. And this story is generally told as a way of scaring people into not doing money magic, or as a way of telling people about the consequences of not thinking out or using magic in a way that's consistent with the Wiccan Rede. I personally do not like this tale, and I don't use it as a way of helping people understand how to use money magic or how to impact their finances using spiritual methods. I think that it's clumsy and I think it's irresponsible, because we can teach people how to generate the outcomes they want to without using fear or without sacrificing, someone's little old granny or a little old distant relative. So that's part of what I want to do today, is I want to talk about how to impact finances using spiritual methods and using methods that are reliable. First thing is first. Whenever it comes to doing any kind of magic whatsoever, we can circumvent undesirable outcomes by doing a reading beforehand. We can throw some tarot cards, we can throw some runes, we can throw some bones, use some dice or what have you, and we can ask, what is the expected outcome if we cast the spell that we're thinking about? We can ask, what is the expected outcome if we go about using the method that we have in mind? And if we are satisfied with what the divinatory tool tells us, then we can proceed. If we're not satisfied, we can ask, what method should I use? What should happen? What ingredient should I use? Should I use this ingredient or that ingredient? We can, fine tune whatever spell it is that we're going to work so that the outcome is one that we are satisfied with. And that is not something that's incorporated in the parable. The parable doesn't start off by going, so the young witch decided to do some divination to decide what kind of working they should do. Boom. Next, working with your ancestors, your spirit guides, and your divinities is always a great way to get yourself off on the right foot. For example, making an offering to your ancestors and asking them to impact your finances for the better is going to be a way to make sure that you get what you need, that your money is impacted the way that you need it to, that your needs are met, without sacrificing any relatives, without necessarily having to risk this undesirable outcome. Making an offering of water, making an offering of candles, making an offering of incense to your ancestors, to your spirit guides, to the divinities or patrons that you work with is definitely a great way to start the process. Additionally, if you are already doing things to impact your finances, if you're already doing things to save money or make money, those are things that you can go to kind of amplify. So for example, if you are already budgeting your money, and let's say you are, let's say you're using the envelope system. One envelope is for your rent, one envelope is for your utilities, one envelope is for your car payment, and another envelope is for your vacation fund. Or it's for your holiday shopping fund, what have you. You can do things to these particular envelopes so that the cash flow or the finances available for each of these domains is impacted. You can burn a candle on your rent envelope, or your vacation envelope, or your utility envelope, so that that particular part of your financial life can be impacted. Small scale magics that help increase the energy in your life that's related to finances can be super duper helpful. So you can carry around, you already carry around a wallet, right? You keep your money in your wallet, sure thing. One of the things that you can do is you can just go to a bank, ask them for a $2 bill, you give them 2 ones, and you've got the foundation for a type of money magic that has its foundations in African American conjure and hoodoo. Take this $2 bill, take this $2 bill, and you can smoke it in some Come To Me incense. You can anoint it in Come To Me incense or an attracting incense, and carry it with you with a prayer that rare types of money come to you. Money that comes from unexpected places comes to you. If you want your work life to be impacted in a way that draws more money to you, just simply burning an incense of the appropriate theme. So this one is called hustle, right? And if you have a side hustle, right? So for example, you have a full-time job, but you also wire wrap jewelry. You know, you can use hustle incense to help impact your little side hustle. If you have a full-time job, but you also do Instacart, Uber, or Lyft on the side, you can maybe smoke the outside of your vehicle and hustle so that your little side gig can be impacted in that way. If you ask him for a certain amount of money and it's going to be a one-off or you're not going to use it that frequently, you can burn special favor incense. And you can communicate with your spirits and your ancestors that way. Like, this is a one-off gig, like I need this amount of money. If you have a great relationship with your spirit guides and your ancestors already, they already know what's on the horizon. You're like, yo, I need a special favor. Boom. Like, the incense is an offering. Ask them verbally, ask them in meditation, ask them on a petition paper what that little special favor is. And, use this incense to kind of to amplify that. There, of course, are herbs that you can use to impact your finances that you can work with as a component of earth magic. So my go-tos include patchouli, 5-finger grass for sure, cinquefoil, peppermint leaf, of course, is on that list. and grains of paradise remains an essential for doing money magic. And how you might want to consider using these is you can create a dust or a powder. For example, if you get a hold of some money powder or some dinero polvo from a botanica, you can put some of this powder and you can ground up in a mortar or pestle your grains of paradise, your five-finger grass, your peppermint leaf, and your patchouli, and create a little powder for yourself. And you can put that in your shoes, or you can sprinkle that, on your door and on your steps. That way, when you walk over it and incorporate some foot track magic, the path that you walk is one of money and abundance. Of course, there's always that candle magic component. And candle magic is, of course, very helpful. It incorporates fire. You can incorporate oils. You can incorporate herbs in your candle magic, making it a super potent, method for impacting your finances. And of course, there are several kinds of candles out there that you can use. And you can incorporate one or all of them into your work. So, of course, the taper candle. You can write your petition on this candle. You can anoint it with oil. You can sprinkle the powder, the herbs on here. And you can light it up, leave it on your altar, leave it on your ancestor altar to, support a petition that you've already got going. Or you can use this as a standalone spell, in which case you're working on manifesting money. When it comes to candles in color, however, there's some things to think about that might be super duper helpful to be aware of. Color. A lot of times, at least in North America and the United States, people associate money with the color green. And so you can use a candle like this. You can leave this lit for a long time and you can keep your altar hot. Continuously working on some money. You can burn a candle like this on top of your $2 bill. Or you can burn a candle like this on top of your budgeting envelope. You can write things on this glass that you would like to manifest. You can anoint this with oil. You can sprinkle your powders and your herbs in here to further support and amplify the work that you're doing. Then you got glass encased candles like this that are also from the conjure hoodoo tradition. And this is a fast luck candle. And as you can see, this candle has a bunch of images on it related to different kinds of luck and manifesting luck. And so when it comes to candles like this, you can, again, write stuff on here. You can also combine this with some other forms of magic that I will talk about moving forward. But when it comes to color, again, a lot of people associate money with green, but I would like to assert that you might be better served if you incorporate your silvers and your golds. So these are precious metals that legit guap gets spent on, that legit money gets spent on. So incorporating silver and gold into your working, incorporating silver candles and gold candles, incense that are called silver and gold or cash flow, might be helpful in further charging the energy for your work. These tea light candles, also very helpful, obviously, in all candle magic. In the case of money magic, you can put one of these tea light candles and anoint it with some come to me oil. You put one of these tea light candles on maybe a $100 bill, a $20 bill, a $50 bill, for a very quick, just like I'm attracting some money. And you can put this on the altar to your patrons or your ancestor altar or what have you, as a way of attracting, some more $100 bills into your life, or more $50 or $20 bills into your life. So come to me oil is an attracting oil that might be super beneficial for you to have in your repertoire. Just like the fast luck candle, there's fast luck oil that you can also use. And then again, there is some silver and some gold oil that you can use as a way of impacting your finances as well. When it comes to stones, I recommend the use of magnets, and these can come in the form of hematite, of course. You could, in a pinch, use refrigerator magnets if you wanted to, but using magnets to magnetize the money that you do have, using magnets as an attraction energy in your spells is also beneficial. Carrying around an aventurine with you, also a way of attracting that energy into your life so that you can use it appropriately, helping you maybe illuminate opportunities for financial growth and financial freedom. Lodestones and magnetic sand or magnetic filings are also used. So lodestone. And you can use the male and the female together as a way of amplifying your work. And you feed them with the magnetic sand, you feed them with the filings to keep them, fed and working and satisfied. Then a piece of iron pyrite, also known as fool's gold, is something that you can use in your magical workings. One of my favorite oils comes from a producer named Anna Riva. And if you Google Anna Riva or do some research, you'll find that she or this person has done and produced a lot for witchcraft. Spell books, different creative ways to use, some older magic that maybe folks might not be familiar with. So like using the keys of Solomon, using the pentacles from the Book of Solomon, using, the seals from the 6th, 7th, and 8th books of Moses, things like that. She's responsible for, but she also has an entire line of products, of oils, of powders that can be used to affirm your goals. And this one right here is called Hasnohana, and a very simple spell that I will share with you is to grab some Hasnohana, take your wallet, and just anoint your wallet, 3 crosses, 3 X's, a dot with the oil, say a little prayer, attracting money, bless your wallet so that money is not falling out too much and that money is, being put in and held there safely. Using runes, also a strategy that you can do. So Fehu is a rune that you can use to impact finances. And you can incorporate this energy into your working as well. Here we also have a gold dollar. This is a Sacagawea dollar. Well, it's not Sacagawea because that's not who's on here. It's Franklin Pierce, a figure who is, rich, but this is a gold dollar. And you can anoint this with Come To Me oil. You can anoint this with Fast Luck oil. You can anoint it with the oil. You can burn the Fast Luck candle on top of it. And you can then use that as a coin for your scratch-offs if you would like to enhance your gambling luck. 3 jacks and a king, Bingo are also examples of oils that you can use to increase your luck and your ability to get some money and finances through gambling. Incorporating tarot cards into magic, also great idea. I recommend the Queen of Pentacles. I, of course, also recommend the King of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles. The Emperor. The Empress. And the Wheel of Fortune. You can invoke these energies with words and with prayers, with the help of your ancestors, and you can, burn a candle on top of those as a very easy, simple spell. Again, incorporating your ancestor altar or incorporating an altar dedicated to your spirit guides or your patrons. Going back to the powders, this is an example of a business powder that was created by the producer Anna Riva. And so you can combine your business powder with your money powder, with your herbs, and do that as a way of fortifying your business. And you can sprinkle that in the corners of your business. You can sprinkle that, if you're generating a powder or a mix to attract clients, you can sprinkle that outside your door. That way people who walk by might be more prone to become clients in your work. You can create a mojo hand out of a square of cloth or out of a bag that you already have of the appropriate color. And as you sew this up, so that it only has one hole at the top or what have you, you can be saying your prayers for money, for abundance and so forth. Or you can leave it like this, smoke it in your incense, anoint it with oil, and use your appropriate colored string to tie it up. A piece of advice: treat this like a living thing, so you feed it as well. If you wanted it to be made like a hero of your finances, you could, for example, include a piece of iron pyrite. You can include a coin if you wanted, or you could include the money, and you fold up some money, fold it toward you, of course, turning it clockwise, of course, for increasing. So you include the iron pyrite, the piece of money. The 5-finger grass has a way of grabbing that cash or grabbing those opportunities. You sprinkle them in here and you tie it up. You feed it some come to me oil, maybe you feed it some silver and gold oil, maybe you feed it some whiskey or some rum or some vodka or whatever it is that you work with. But my go-to would always be the whiskey and the rum. And you continue to feed that, on a weekly basis, continue to smoke it on a weekly basis, continue to anoint it, talk to it, and let it know that you still need it to bring you money, you still need it to bring you access to opportunities, you still need it to be alive, and you need it to be an active member of your team, and you carry it with you wherever you go. You don't let anyone touch it, hold it, you don't show it to anyone, you don't take any pictures of it and put it on the internet. This is just you and your magic bag, your mojo hand, your sachet, however you pronounce that. It's just between you and this thing that you are building, that you are constructing to impact your money. If you're familiar with the author and the producer of products, Dorothy Morrison, she's got these little spell bottles available that you can buy, and they come with ingredients in them. And so you follow the instructions on the little bottle, pick your right time, pick your right date, whenever you're going to go about and do this magic. And you go ahead and bury this little bottle in some place as a way of casting the spell. And this is something that you can also do. And one of the last things that I do want to talk about, again, as I do mention, a lot of the magic that I practice comes from the African American tradition of magic, conjure, hoodoo, if you will. It's the use of the Bible. In here are psalms that you can use to impact your finances, that you can use as incantations for your spells. And then additionally, you can use this book as a divine magical storage place for your money. So one spell that you can do is, say your prayers, say your incantations, say your invocations to your ancestors. You open up your Bible to the 23rd Psalm, and you put in a $1 bill. Next week, you do the same thing. You open up to the Psalms and you put in a $2 bill. The following week, you do the same thing and you put in a $5 bill. The week after that, you do the same thing and you put in a $10 bill. Next week, you do a $20 bill. The week after that, you do a $50 bill. The week after that, you do a $100 bill. If it gets hard for you to put money in those denominations, then you keep going back to the book every week. You keep opening it up to the 23rd Psalm. You keep saying the prayer. You can even smoke the book in divine incense and pray that the money comes to you in a quick way, in an ethical way, or in a way that causes the least amount of harm, if that's what you need. And if you're willing to sacrifice granny or great auntie, that will be on you. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to run that risk. But just go ahead and say your prayers. And then once you do get a hold of a $10 bill, boom, you stick it in there. Once you do get a hold of that 20 or that 50 or that 100, you stick it in there. Once you have the 1, the 2, the 5, the 10, the 20, the 50, and the 100, you pull those all out and you put them in the back of the book. And then the next week you go back over and you start again with the 1. And then eventually, once you go through this process a few times, you got quite a bit of change stored up in here. And this could very easily be a light bill. It could very easily be a gas bill. It could very easily be a couple of days worth of formula for your kid. It could be your car insurance. It could be your life insurance policy payment for the month. This could be money that you only save and that you only break into when it comes time for you to put some money into a birthday card for a relative if you're looking to bless somebody else. So that is an example of a spell that you could do that uses the Bible and the 23rd Psalm. When it comes to making money happen fast, when it comes to having money manifest for you in a quick way, one of the things that I always recommend doing is adding coffee, adding caffeine. Making an offering of coffee, either brewed or not brewed. Like, you can just use this as it is and sprinkle it, on a dish. And making an offering to your ancestors or spirit guides or your patrons as a way of speeding up the work. As an example, you can combine your candle with your carved petition in it. You anoint the candle in Come To Me oil. You anoint the candle in Hasnohana oil. You anoint it in silver and gold oil. You anoint it in fast luck, what have you. What you can then do is you can put a few sprinkles of caffeine, coffee, espresso into a little cup. You can add some ground up grains of paradise into the same cup. You can add some ground up peppermint, some ground up patchouli, some ground up five-finger grass, some ground up powder, business powder or money powder into that same cup. Mix it up just a little bit with, a spoon, a toothpick, a chopstick, what have you, and, pull out of that cup and just start to sprinkle it onto the candle. So now your candle is charged, blessed, consecrated with, you smoked it in incense, you added the earth element to it, you set the fire, and then you set this maybe on top of your Wheel of Fortune tarot card. And you combine these two components, and there you have it. That is a very decent spell right there to get you some money that you need. I do also recommend, I don't want to call it old, but a traditional form of working in which you pick out 7 banks, and in 2022, I do say you can pick out 7 banks, you can pick out 7 banks or credit unions, you can scope out check cashing places, but financial institutes that are charged with money and cash flow. And it can be like any combination. You can do, 3 banks, 3 credit unions, and a grocery store that cashes paychecks. It can be 5 banks and 2 check cashing institutions. But either way, the energy, the idea is to go to a place that is charged frequently by people walking back and forth, exchanging large sums of money, maybe even paying their bills off at these places, taking care of business, filling their bank accounts, filling their savings accounts, adding certificate deposit accounts, what have you, any of these things. And you get some dirt from that place. So you get in dirt from 7 banks, 7 federal credit unions, 7 check cashing places or grocery stores that cash checks, or any combination where you're getting 7 different dirts. And that can be the foundation of your own financial success powder. You combine those 7 dirts with maybe the money powder. You combine those 7 dirts with the money powder and the business powder. You absolutely combine those 7 dirts with grains of paradise. You combine it with the five-finger grass. You combine it with the peppermint leaf. You combine it with the patchouli, and you combine it with the coffee. And you combine it with a burnt up 23rd Psalm. So you rip the 23rd Psalm out of the Bible. You cut it, isolate it, so that's the only one that you have. And you burn that, and you add that into the herbs, you add that into the powders, and you add that into the dirt. And there you have a very powerful ingredient for your spells. You can put that by itself in your shoes so that you're always walking towards financial success and financial freedom. You combine that on your candles. You can even put that in an oil, so now you have that in oil component, and it's an anointing oil. And you can anoint your wallet with that, you can anoint your money with that. You can anoint the doorknobs at your place of business with that. You can put that powder into your envelopes for your money management system. Put that in your rent money envelope, put that in your vacation fund envelope, put that in your car note fund. as a way of impacting your finances. And in this way, you're not actually acting or asking for a specific amount of money. You are just generating more money into those directions. Of course, remember that you have the ability to ask your spirits for the best way to generate income. You have the ability to ask your spirits to help you understand or recognize the best way to go about getting your money, so you don't have to be afraid to work. You don't have to be afraid to pray. You don't have to be afraid to use your magic. One of the problems that I find with that parable is that it doesn't offer any solutions. It doesn't offer a way for people to become more confident in doing their spell work or impacting their finances. So I would like to offer a new story, one that can be used to help people recognize that it's absolutely appropriate. Times are getting hard, gas prices are high, rent is going up, the housing market is super ridiculous right now, and no one's trying to buy a house at this point in 2022. Groceries are high, there's a formula shortage, which means the cost of formula is also going up. It's absolutely a time to get our spirits involved in helping us, because we have a right to survive and thrive too, especially if we don't have money. We do live in a capitalist society, and money is required in order to play the game, so to speak. So the new story goes, once upon a time, there was a young witch, wizard, sorcerer, priestess, priest, priestess, what have you, who was reviewing their bank account for the past couple of months, or they were reviewing their financial situation for the past couple of months. And they found that although they were working very hard, they found that their money was going to a bunch of places that, it was important for it to go to. Their money was going towards rent every month. Their money was going towards car note every month. Their money was going towards utility bills every single month. Their money was going towards credit card debt every single month. And they found that although they were paying all these bills off, there just wasn't ever enough money for them to have a life worth living. Couldn't go to concerts, they couldn't go out to eat with friends, they couldn't take a time out and go see a movie in the movie theaters. And so they decided that they were going to appeal to the spirit world to help change their position. So they did a reading with their tarot cards. They did a reading with their rune system. They did a reading with their dice. They did a reading with their guess no coin. They did a reading with their pendulum. Any of those things. And they found that their spirits were absolutely in favor of them working to impact their finances. So they sat down in meditation, and they invoked their master teacher spirit guide, and they invoked their ancestor, and they invoked their patron, and they asked, according to the three of you who have my best interest at heart, how can I use magic to impact my finances in a way that benefits me, and that also makes it so that my family and relatives don't have to suffer as a result of me doing this magic? And their master teacher gave them some ingredients, and their ancestor gave them a time of day or a date, and their patron gave them some words of power to use. They came out of meditation, and they wrote down everything that they had learned, and they proceeded with gathering the ingredients that they needed. So they gathered their ingredients, and when the day and the time of the spell came around, they cast their circle, called their quarters, invoked their patrons, invoked their guides, invoked their ancestors in support of their work, and they cast their spell. After a couple of weeks have gone by, they forgot that they even cast the spell, and they returned to their daily grind. They returned to work, They returned to their side hustle. They returned to serving their community as best as they could, and they returned to tying up all their loose ends and saving money as best as they could. And they found that they were walking down the street one day, and they found some money on the ground. They found a $20 bill, and they were like, "Great, this is excellent. I'm so glad that I found this." And upon seeing that money, they were like, "Oh crap, I think my spell worked." So they went home and they went back to their altars and they said thank you to their spirit guide, the master teacher, to their patron, and to their ancestor. And in the moment of saying thanks, they heard their master teacher say to them in meditation, in prayer, "We're not done yet. We have more for you." And they got instructions to put that dollar down on the altar, to anoint it with come to me oil, to place a lodestone on it and sprinkle some of those iron filings on it, and to burn a gold candle on it, and to use the words of power that were given to them for the last working, and let the candle burn all the way down. And so they did that. And then a couple more weeks went by, and they found that someone at their job had quit, which left an opening for some more shifts. And so the young witch, wizard, sorceress, sorcerex, priest, clergy person, what have you, the spirit worker signed up for some shifts. And they got them, and they saw an increase in their paycheck. And so they went back to their altar and they said to their guides and patrons and ancestors, "Thank you so much." And they got some more instructions. "We're not finished with you yet. Everything that is extra in your paycheck as a result of you taking extra shifts is going to go directly into a savings envelope, and you are not to touch it for 3 months. And what you are going to do is you are going to, in this envelope, sprinkle 5-finger grass, some caffeine, some coffee, some espresso. You're going to anoint each of those bills with silver and gold oil and come to me oil. And you are going to burn a silver and a gold candle on it. And you're going to utter those words of power over it, the ones that were given to you from the initial work." And so the worker does this post haste. Now a couple more weeks go by, and it's been maybe a month and a half since the first spell. And they go into work and they find that a higher up has actually resigned their position in search of a better opportunity. And the supervisor says, "Hey, we're accepting applications for people to take over this role, but we are looking to hire internally, and I recommend you. Not only have you been working here, but you stepped up right away to take some extra shifts to be a good team player. And I think that, with some training that it comes with the position, you would be great to fill this position. So now you are offered a promotion at work, which comes with a financial increase. You accept the recommendation, you make the application and you submit it in. You go home and you go to your altars and you thank your ancestors and you thank your patrons and you thank your spirit guides. You refresh their water. You burn a candle, not out of any intention, not out of asking anything, but you burn candles on their altars just because you recognize that they've really been putting in that work. So you say a prayer of elevation for your ancestors. You say a prayer of thank you to your spirit guides, and you make offerings and prayers of thanks to your patrons. And in meditation, they tell you, we are giving you this promotion at work. And so you go into work and you continue to work hard. You continue to shine your best. You continue to offer your prayers of thanks. You continue to burn your incense for money. You continue to burn and keep your money altar and your workings hot by replacing candles and what have you. And you come into your interview and you have the appointment for your interview. And so upon recognizing that you've got that coming up, you go back to your altar and you light a yellow candle on your ancestor altar. You light a yellow candle on your spirit guide altar. You light a yellow candle on your patron altar, however it is that you work. And you just say, may my communication be clear, may I communicate my ideas clearly, and may everyone involved be receptive to what I have to offer. You already know that your spirits want this for you, but you burn that just for good measure. You pull out the King of Swords tarot card and you charge that on your altar. And then on the day of your interview, you put that in your wallet. The worker puts that in their wallet and goes off to their interview. And they have clear communication and they are able to speak freely, openly, humorously, with knowledge, with intellect, with great inspiration about all the things that they want to do with their position and all the things that they want to do to continue to impact the company. And they get the job. The end. Their finances are now changed. For as long as they keep that role, their finances are now changed due to that. They still have money saved on their altar that they decide, okay, the spell is over. There is an appropriate level up in life circumstances now. Things have changed for the better and I can afford a lot more now. So I will either save this money, I will spend it on a good old time. Maybe you want to update your wardrobe to better reflect what it is you're going to be doing with your new role. Maybe you want to take $5 and turn that into 5 gold coins and give those away to homeless people that you see as a way of paying it forward, as a way of, keeping that good karma on your side for finances and for blessings. So that is several ways that you can impact your magic, that you can keep the spirit world on your side and make sure that you have enough to do what you need to do. I do hope that you find all of this helpful and that you put it into practice. That way you can feel the abundance of the universe in your life. Thank you for watching this episode.